Hey friend, a quick update for you. My website is officially live. I'm so excited. You can check it out at reneemat.com. And my name is spelled a little bit different, so people get hung up on it sometimes, but it's Renae. And I'll make sure the link is in the show notes in case you need to just click that and get to the website. But this website is where you're going to find all the things that I talk about here on the podcast. Plus, I've officially opened the wait list for my upcoming course. So, if you've been wanting some extra support to finally get those 5 foundational routines working for real life, you'll definitely want to get on that list so that you are the first to know when doors open. The new website is going to be your go to spot to learn more about me, check out those resources I mentioned on the podcast, and get that support if you're ready to create routines and systems that actually work for real life. So when you're done listening, head to reneemat.com, take a look around, pop your name on that wait list. I cannot wait for you to see it. I know this feels like an odd time of year to be thinking about Christmas and all the expenses that can come along with it. However, this is actually a great time to think about it if you don't already have a plan set up. So, today we're actually going to talk about how to take simple steps with our budget right now to make sure that the financial stress that comes around the holidays is completely non existent this year. Instead of the financial burden of making the holiday a special time of year, you will actually be able to focus on the love, the joyful moments, and the reason for the season instead of having to worry about money. So let's take some simple steps now to make this year's Christmas one of the best ones yet. Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renee Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast. Christmas, while it can be such an amazing time of year, it's really unfortunate that we tend to get really stressed about money at this time of year as well because we want to make it so special and it has become so commercialized that a lot of times we're just trying to keep up with what's going on around us. So even if we completely simplify this time of year, if we're celebrating Christmas, a lot of times we're still going to have extra expenses. Even if you're not going all out in decorations or gifts or anything like that, you're probably still spending extra in like baking supplies and doing special moments and attending, different seasonal events or things like that, that we're still going to want some extra money around that time of year. So instead of like focusing on all the extra costs that come at that time of year, we want to take that financial burden away by just simply planning ahead. And in order to do this, it just takes some intentionality now or at the end of the year before if you are having that time depending on when you're listening to this episode, but no matter what time you're listening to it, just start now because you can prepare for the next holiday by just a few intentional steps and doing it now. And then when the holiday comes, all you have to do is show up and have fun and just enjoy that time with your family or your friends or whatever you are doing at that time of year. Now, with doing this, obviously the more time that you have between now and Christmas, the more that you can be prepared. However, even if it's just a short time, you're going to be able to make some impact that's at least going to help contribute to that financial cost at that time of year. So, even if you only have a couple months, you still want to do this because it will help. Now, I'm recording this in May, and this will air in June. Or actually, I take that back. It's going to air at the end of May. So, when I am looking at doing this, we are going to say that we have like 5 months. So you've got June, July, August, September, October to prepare. And we're going to look at shopping starting in November. Okay. So, what we want to do is we want to start with step one And we want to first determine how much you want to spend. Now, when you're looking at your Christmas shopping, we're not just looking at gifts, we're looking at anything that is not your typical budget. So, even if you don't have a budget, we still want to make this list and prepare so that we know how much we're expecting to spend around Christmas time. So you're looking at what gifts do you want to buy? Like literally make a list of all the people you want to buy for and about how much you want to spend on each person. And then you want to look at how much is it going to be to wrap those gifts. Like literally think about how much it's going to cost for wrapping paper and tape and any ribbons or bows or anything like that that you want to do, gift boxes, anything like that. Just give yourself an estimated number of how much that is going to cost. The next thing is baking supplies. The next thing is Christmas decor or replacement Christmas lights, things like that that you tend to buy. Give yourself an amount that you are expecting to spend this year. And then another one is Christmas events or activities, whether it is something local or maybe you're going to some sort of Christmas play or performance that costs some money, things like that that you want to just be aware of and plug onto your list and about how much you want to put aside for those types of events. So do this, create your big list, put an expected amount next to each item, and then add it all up and get your total. So this is your total estimated cost for the Christmas season. Okay. And then we're going to move to step two. And this is going to be taking your big number and you are going to divide it by the number of months you have to save. Now, like I said, we are releasing this episode at the end of May. So you will have all of June, July, August, September, and October. You will have a full 5 months to prepare so that you are ready with the funds that you need starting in November, and then you can do all of your Christmas shopping and all of those things from November into December. Now, once you have the number of months you have, so if you're listening to this at a different time, obviously you're going to have to adjust because it might not be 5 months that you have. But if it is, if you're listening to this in real time, you've got 5 months to be ready by November. Now, when you divide your total number by the number of months you have, you will come up with an amount that you need to save or set aside each month starting now. So, for example, when you do this, say you add up everything and you're doing a pretty simple Christmas and you're going to plan to spend about $400 extra on Christmas. So, if you have 5 months, that means you need to save $80 per month to have your goal filled. And this is going to be, $80 per month. So it's like one time a month. Or if you get paid twice a month, then that means like $40 per paycheck. And you're just setting this money aside. So what you're going to do is you're going to figure out how much you actually need to set aside each month. So, like I said, if it's $400 total, you've got 5 months, that means you need $80 per month. If it's $800 you're planning on spending and you've got 5 months, you need to save $160 per month. If you are planning on saving $1,000 and you've got 5 months, you need to save $200 a month. Now, if you are saying, okay, I'm going to spend around $2,000 around Christmas time and I've got 5 months to save, then I need to be saving $400 per month now to have $2,000 set aside by the time Christmas comes around. Now, what we're looking at doing here is being prepared for that time of year. So none of this stuff needs to go on a credit card or put us behind in all of our stressful bills or anything like that. We don't need to worry about that because we're going to have this money set aside and prepared for our expenses. Now, step three is committing to your savings method. And this is where you are actually going to choose how you want to save this. So you can take each amount, whether it's at each paycheck or just once a month, like I said, And you're going to make sure that you put that amount somewhere that is dedicated to this Christmas fund. So you can put it into, a sinking fund or savings account. You can put it into like a cash bank, like you're actually pulling money and just setting cash aside in a safe or something where you're putting that money away. You can put it in a high yield savings account like an Ally. You can also even put it into a separate checking account. I've heard a lot of people do this is that they have a second checking account only for Christmas. So instead of putting that extra money into savings and then pulling it out when it comes time for Christmas, they are, not doing anything with the debit card until it's time to actually go shopping. And then you kind of use that account like a savings account. And then when it comes time to actually do your Christmas shopping, you use that card, like that debit card, and you spend only from that account. So then it's your like Christmas checking account. So that is another option as well. We don't personally do that, but it is something that works for a lot of people. So if you feel like that works for you, then go for it. But the main thing is choosing your method and then making sure that it's easy enough to plug that money away and then making sure that you actually stick to it and you don't take from that money or that account or that bank when you are going throughout the year because we're setting it aside specifically for this. We don't want to pull from it just randomly and then all of a sudden not have enough in there to cover our expenses. So, like I said, even if you create this goal and you only get halfway there, it's still better than not having anything set aside. It's still going to relieve some of that money stress. But if we can set up our goals and set ourselves up to be fully prepared as we go into the season, then all of that money is going to be set aside and you don't have to worry about any of it. It is not going to affect your financial situation if you are preparing ahead of time and you can truly just enjoy the season. And then when it comes time to actually executing this plan and spending this money around Christmas time, I would highly suggest that you do this again. Figure out your list, figure out your expected expenses, and then calculate how much you need to set aside for 11 months. And, or I guess it would be 10 months because then you'd have January through October to divide it out. So then you don't have to save quite as much each month. It'll be a smaller amount because you have it spread over more months. And so then you will give yourself more time to prepare and you can start cycling this and doing it every year where you are planning the amount, you're starting to save all through the year, and then you're ready to go with your Christmas fund starting in November. So that is something that we have done for the last several years, and it just makes it so much easier and it is so much less stressful. And it's actually just a really fun time of year, and we can really focus on what's most important because money and gifts are fun around that time of year, but it's not what's most important. So we don't want to be stressing and focusing our time and energy on the financials of Christmas. We really want to focus on the reason that Christmas is here and focusing with our friends and family and time with them and just really making it a very special season. So that is what we really want to be able to do. And this just helps us do that. So a really quick recap of those three steps to help you get set up and get prepared so that you do not have to have any financial stress when it comes time to Christmas this year. So, number one is to determine how much you want to spend. Write a list of all of the people you want to buy gifts for, wrapping costs, baking supplies, Christmas decor, replacement, Christmas lights, Christmas events or activities, anything like that. Write your full list of all the things that you think that you're going to be spending money on around Christmas time. Give an estimated amount for each of those things or how much you think the gifts will cost for each person and add up your grand total. And then you're going to go to step two and you are going to divide that grand total number by the number of months you have to save. Once you do that, you will know exactly how much you need to save each month to be prepared with your fully funded Christmas fund. And then you are going to move to step 3, which is to commit to a savings method, whether you are doing it in a savings account, one of your Christmas checking accounts, holding cash and setting that aside. However you want to save this money, just make sure that you have a plan of where you're putting the money and how much you need to set aside each month and how you're going to do that so that you can actually stick to this plan. And then you will be fully ready when that time of year comes. So, like I said, it feels like it's early, but it really isn't. And you are going to really thank your future self when you get to Christmas time and you've got all of this money set aside specifically for this, and money does not stress you out over the holidays. Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.